Hello everyone, I am Jim of Justice Mulisha, and we have a very special treat for you all this evening. Joining us tonight for an interview is none other than Owen Shroyer from InfoWars. Welcome, Owen. Thanks for joining us. I would like to know what your red pill moment was. I'd like to know, did you grow up in a liberal area? Did you, and what was your red pill moment? When did you know that there was something very wrong, at least in America?
Well, I wasn't really raised with a certain political leaning or anything. Both my parents, I would say, are probably independent but conservative. But there was never really, they never really influenced my politics per se. So I never really cared about politics. And I was working in sports media. That was always my dream, was sports media, and I was working in sports media when the Boston Marathon bombing happened.
Oh.
So that was the first time that sports and current events kind of had a crossroads, for me at least, and I was in media at the time, I was on the radio at the time, and I was never interested in politics, I was never interested in news. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Lifetime, before the Boston Marathon bombing, I probably had maybe a combined 5 hours of watching news in my life, maybe. I mean,
wow.
So not even at all involved, really. Other than, I guess, just, I always did well in history. But so the Boston Marathon bombing happens, and it's the first time where sports and current events hit a crossroads. And so I'm following it. Obviously, I'm reporting on it every day on the air. We're talking about it, and I'm watching the news for the first time. Like I said, 5 hours probably my whole life. That might even be a stretch. So for the first time, I'm watching the news, and I'm watching CNN, and I'm watching all the news, and I'm watching them cover the Boston Marathon bombing, and it's just like something doesn't feel right to me. Something didn't feel right. I felt like I was being lied to. I wasn't getting the full story, and it kind of irked me. And there was extra angst added because I couldn't talk about it fairly on the radio. I felt like, I can't even tell you what's going on because none of it's making sense. So for the first time, I started to actually look into news, look elsewhere, and of course ended up at InfoWars and started listening to Alex Jones. And so, look, there's a bunch of anomalies. I ended up doing a senior project on the Boston Marathon bombing that my professor found interesting. I'll just leave it at that. And so, there were a lot of anomalies and stuff that the mainstream news didn't report on. And you would think, and for me at the time, I'm sitting here like, why wouldn't they be reporting on this? Why wouldn't they be reporting on the older Tsarnaev brother being a CIA operative? Why wouldn't they report on the older Tsarnaev brother being tracked as he's traveling through, Western Russia and other places? And there's other anomalies to this too, like the younger Tsarnaev's brother and his timeline. And so they're lying about things. They're not giving full truths about things. So that was my first red pill moment, go down the rabbit hole moment, and I haven't turned back since, because the world is a lot more interesting when you're not being distracted by sports.
I understand that, brother. I really do. I used to be a huge Braves fan, and I still love to watch them here and there, but I can't be all too involved in it. None of the sports.
It would be a situation where you and I would probably sit around and talk about the Braves and the Cardinals and the '96 NLCS. Like, that's the kind of crap that I used to remember. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of stuff that I used to be obsessed about. If I could tell you what Jim Edmonds hit in the year 2004, batting for the Cardinals. He had 301, he had 42 home runs, I believe, he had 106 RBIs. That's how
amazing.
Crazy it is. If I would have been doing all of that with history and politics, then I can't even imagine where I'd be right now. But here I am now, and I'm actually going to look that up. Right, I swear I didn't look that up. I bet you that was Jim Edmonds' number. So that's how crazy. I mean, I have a photographic memory, but just imagine if people applied that to real shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Are you going to look it up?
I'm looking up right now. Next question.
Okay. All right.
This is where I began loving debate, because I used to debate sports. So I love being proven right on that stuff.
All right. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that false guilt has played a role in the desperate situation America finds itself in now, and we find ourselves in now? I know that I suffered from it for years. Did you ever find yourself having to leave false guilt?
I think that it's part of the propaganda, in
Yeah.
the universities, where a lot of people come out of college, specifically white people, and they have white guilt, or they have guilt for being American, where, there's a lot of atrocities that you could argue America is behind. I don't think
Absolutely.
anybody's going to defend that, but we don't ignore those things either. We just also like to talk about the things that make America great, the things that made America the greatest country on earth. But as far as the guilt and that sort of stuff, I feel like that's all propaganda that mostly comes from the universities. That seems to be the age and the time where most students or individuals in America seem to go down that line of thinking.
Yeah.
And it's actually something that I talked about today on the War Room with Austin Fletcher of Fleckus Talks, because we're both the same age and went through college at the same time. And we both kind of had the same phenomenon happen where, not really politically inclined, but all of a sudden had these liberal beliefs, liberal tendencies once we got into college, only to, obviously change our minds down the road when we actually did a little research. So I think that that's just straight propaganda from the universities. I don't believe that anybody's born with a feeling of guilt or born with a feeling of inadequacy or anything like that. I don't believe that's in our DNA. So I think that's trained propaganda.
I believe it is too. But I will say that I did have to leave it. There's a lot of different kind of false guilts. Mistakes you've made in the past. You made. You went to the Father. You asked for forgiveness. And when he forgives you, when you repent and he forgives you, you walk away from it. You're not supposed to live in it for your whole life, So you're supposed to accept that forgiveness. But like the kind of false guilt you're talking about there it's trained thought. And, I did have to go through that. I felt guilty for things that I never did.
And again, it's like you don't have that in your DNA. That's not something that you're born with. Someone has to teach that to you. That has to be engraved into your thought process, into your mind. So how does it get there? Where does it come from? Why does it always just seem to be aimed in one direction? And I mean, it's crazy to think that this is going on in America, right? I mean, most people don't want to think that they're looking at propaganda, right? I mean,
absolutely.
People don't want to face a fact that's pretty harsh. That's, what? I'm most likely looking at some propaganda right now.
Yeah.
And if they, nobody even wants to admit that because it's so serious, because then you have to be on edge all the time, right? At least that's the theory. But that's kind of just basic survival anyway. And so it's all a weird brainwashing system. Whether you want to say it's from Satan, whether you want to say it's the Illuminati, whether you think it's human, off-world, it doesn't matter. I think it exists. And it's time for everybody to at least accept that. I mean, we're seeing it in real time. Once we can accept it and deal with it, maybe we can figure out who's behind it or what's behind it, or if it is some weird, twisted thing that humanity just has to deal with. But we can't even admit it. Most of us just live in denial.
Yes, sir. Okay, I have another question for you. When Trump is not president, okay, let's say best case scenario, we run this and he gets 4 more years, right? And then when he's not there, where do you think we will stand? Do you think anybody's going to have the feet to fill the shoes? And also, do you think the libtards and Antifa will just vanish at that point?
Right now, I don't see anybody that can do what Donald Trump has done.
I don't either.
The courage, the bravery, the will, the strength, the actual ability, the knowledge, the experience, the success. I don't see any individual right now that,
Yeah, I don't either.
I just don't see anybody that could do any of that. Honestly, I really don't.
I don't see it now.
I don't know if there's anybody that could come forward, but the craziest thought that I think anybody who's gone down this thought pattern, this path, has gone down, has thought, I believe Trump will be in for 8 years. My co-host Roger Stone, well, he doesn't. I don't know if he says that on air or not, but behind the scenes when we talk, he thinks Trump's just going to be 4 and done. But
wow.
I think he'll be there. I think he'll be there for 8 years, and anybody who goes down this thought path has to think, well, how about Don Jr., right?
Okay, yeah.
I don't really like like necessarily all of Ivanka's politics, but I think I would trust her more than anyone else right now. I mean, I think, you know what I think it is, honestly? I think that because politics and because of D.C. and because the presidency and all these things have been so tarnished, and because nobody trusts it anymore, I mean, really, it's like the lowest trust level of all time.
Yeah.
Right?
I wonder why.
Well, I think that because of that, though, just the Trump name enough, because of the trustworthiness that Donald Trump earned with the American people, I think just the name Trump alone could get you in office. I mean, like I'm saying, I would vote for Ivanka, even though I don't like a lot of her politics, just because most likely I'm going to trust her more than whoever else is running not to stab me in the back.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a weird dynamic happening right now where the Trump name in a legitimate world is going to be synonymous with trust, and that name alone is going to be able to get you to the White House for at least another 4 years, and then who knows down the road? Maybe Don Jr., maybe Ivanka, maybe Eric. I mean, who really knows? But right now, I don't see anybody that can do what Trump has done, and I don't know if anybody's even interested. I don't know if anyone has the cojones to do it. So it is crazy, and that's why we really have to take advantage of the time we have right now with Trump in office to do as much as possible.
I agree, 100%. Now we don't have we don't have a lot more time left. I know you have a busy schedule. I'm going to end this on a little bit lighter note. Just for fun, because I do want to know who Owen Shroyer is. So, what was your favorite toy when you were a little kid, man?
I like this. We can do this for a little bit. I don't have long. I wish I had more. Favorite toy? I mean, that's catching the guy off guard. I've been asked a lot of serious questions. You know what? I would probably say Legos. I think, because I had all kinds of different kinds of Legos, and I love building Legos, breaking Legos. So I'll confidently say Legos.
Okay, right on. I'll just tell you real quick, just for the heck of it, because I wanted to tell you this. I had an Evel Knievel with the motorcycle, and you can put it on this little thing, and you pull the string, and he goes zinging off and does all kind of crazy flips.
Yeah. I think that was from the 80s.
Yeah.
I wasn't born till 89, so I was a little behind that.
It was like 70s. Okay, here's the thing. Why is such a successful man like yourself single?
I don't know. I guess I'm picky.
Yeah.
And honestly, truthfully, most people these days meet people online, and I don't do the dating apps or anything like that.
I got it.
And honestly, I don't really have time to chase women around. So
no, they better be chasing your ass. That's all I'm saying. Bring your ass some water. That's what I'm saying. So here's another one. Okay, this is I'm not. I know you're used to serious questions. That's why I want to give you a little relief, just a little bit. So you're a single man. Do you have a sex robot?
Oh my God! Yeah. The Chinese are actually sending me a complimentary sex robot. They said ignore the camera behind the eyes, ignore the recording device in between the breasts. They said don't worry about that. It's complimentary from China. So yeah, my Chinese sex robot is on the way, and it's a gift. It's a gift from the Chinese government, and it's not a spy bot. And they want me to market it for them, so and I'm getting mine sent.
All right. Good sport. That was a great answer.
Robot. I just don't understand that shit.
I don't either, man. How do people? I don't know. Who does that stuff? I don't know.
Just clean it up, put it in the closet.
If you really want to go down the rabbit hole here, I mean, is that really the weirdest thing? I mean, there's necrophiliacs out there.
That's true.
Really, maybe these people aren't that weird.
Well, no, but still, they're freaking weirdos. It's like, I loved Barbies when I was a kid. I gotta get me a big one. Anyhow, I had to have a little fun with you.
No, that's good. I actually, honestly, it's funny. This is actually the type of stuff I enjoy. I actually hate politics, but the country's really in danger. Freedom is really in danger, and these times are perilous. So
All right.
I had to switch to politics.
Awesome. So I want this one last question, please. Lay it out for me. What do you believe we need to do to save this country, brother?
It starts on an individual level. I think people have to consciously commit to whatever they think is the big issue. Now, the problem is a lot of people are being steered in the wrong direction, and so we cannot get on the same page. There's distractions, there's misinformation, there's divisions, and so we can't all get on the same consciousness level to actually improve the world like we should be able to do. And again, you can call that Satan, you can call that the Illuminati. Everybody's got reasons, or they just try to ignore like it's not happening. But really, I just look at myself and I say, what did it take for me? I had to start paying attention. I had to start genuinely caring. I had to realize that, you can't just go about life and not care about life.
I agree.
And once that hits, things start to make more sense. And I think that whatever your destiny is starts to kind of, the fog that may have been there starts to clear up. I don't know. For me, it was, look, I'm a talented broadcaster. I think I'm entertaining. And so for me, it was to just go into broadcasting and say the things that everybody's been harboring in their minds and in their hearts and in their spirits for decades and years that they just haven't heard anyone say. So I don't know. That's what it was for me. For someone else, it might be growing a garden and making people eat healthy again, or doing something to try to make people healthier again. I mean, there's so many different avenues and outlets. Pulling people away from the social media, getting people back out into nature. So there's so many different outlets. There's so many different avenues, and it really just starts at an individual level. I think with self-consciousness, self-realization. Which really is realizing you're part of a bigger picture, you're part of humanity, and once you see that and you see the divisions for what they are, that's when you can start to see the fog clear out. Unfortunately, so many people just their heads are so foggy, and you try to clear it out for them, and they'd rather live in the fog.
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? A lot of them. The way I look at it too is like it's we're all members of the same body. If we want to be, if one body wants to be successful, the foot has to work. The leg has to work. The hips have to work. It's our heart, our minds. The pituitary gland has to work. Everything's got to work, and together for a common goal. And it's very difficult. It's a lot of things are. It's like something is shattered right now. And I'm just hoping that it can be brought back together somehow.
Well, we got to unite the people, and that's what Trump is trying to do. And it's the mainstream news and the Democrats that are trying to stop Trump from uniting the people.
Yes, sir. Well, I will tell you, I appreciate your time greatly. We're going to send you a shirt. Do you want one like Rob's? We got Justice Mulisha has 3. We got a I Am Tommy Robinson shirt also. So, we have several shirts to choose from.
Do you guys have any hats?
We do not yet.
We could make one.
Yet, he says.
Yes, yet. But we have 4 shirts.
You can send me whatever shirt you want.
Okay.
Make it.
Absolutely.
And we can make a hat.
Just make sure that the hat, when you send it to me, is on top of a Chinese sex doll.
Awesome. Owen, you're the man. I appreciate it. And it's so nice to get to know you through these years now. Did you start in as Carl the Cuck Slayer? Is that how you...
Well, that's what put me on the map, I would say. But I've been working in live media for 10 years now.
Yeah.
I've been on the radio since I was 21. So I'd had experience, but that was definitely what landed me on the map as far as, anybody knowing who I was or recognizing me on a national landscape.
At the end of one of the videos, and you were just wearing a flannel shirt, you said Infowars.com. Were you working for them then?
No, man. No.
Oh, right on. I got you.
I actually, well, I mean, I knew the camera guy because I met them because I was covering the events in Ferguson, Missouri. So I had already met some of the InfoWars crew before. So when I saw him filming,
Nice.
you know, I was like, oh, that's InfoWars. So I naturally thought, oh, I'll report for InfoWars here live on the scene. I'll do a sign off and everything. So, you know, like
Sweet.
Good job. Thank you.
I was a professional at the time, so they were like, oh, wow, this guy did a sign off.
Nice job, man. Nice job.
I love the videos of fat chicks yelling at you.
Yeah. We got Justice Mulisha in the house, okay? So, you know.
Hey, we got to run the cameras.
Yeah.
Shout out to all y'all at Justice Militia, and thanks for having me on, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
Owen.
you, sir.
Thanks, Owen.
Have a good one.